not going to read but about 4 verses. Matthew 8. Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you some things happened today. It's been a real good day. Really excellent day. But let me tell you first, and I've told this several times, and I don't know what y'all think about it or not, but I've stopped watching the news.
Amen.
And I quit, and when it comes on the radio, I turn it off. And when it comes back, and I used to listen to talk radio all day long, and I'd watch Fox News at night, and but I've just stopped, and I'm just taking time off from it, and I know somebody told me, well, Tommy, my good old brother Tommy here, he told me, he said, you just keeping your head in the sand. No, I'm up there with the Eagles, and I'm giving it a while off. Now, I'm going back to it because I love, I like politics, I like all that, but I tell you, I'm just tired of it. Sick and tired of it, and I feel a lot better. I got other problems going on in my life, and we'll talk about them when we get to the prayer request, but
Good thing that happened to us. My son got home from Malaysia
praise the Lord.
a week ago, and he hasn't run any
Did he have to run quarantine?
Yeah, he's been in self-quarantine.
and he hadn't run any fever or anything like that, so praise God.
Broke a tooth while he was over there. His front tooth chipped. They've been bonding it and all that kind of stuff. It keeps breaking, but it's hurting. But now nobody will see him for at least 2 weeks, because he's in quarantine to make sure since he's been out of country. They always ask if he's been out of country. So I just pray he'll won't be in too much, running too many problems for another week, where he can't wait. So.
Praise God, he got home safe.
But what I want to talk to you about tonight is something I wrote down probably several years ago, and I keep all those things I write down. They mean so much to me at the time, but a few years I can't even read my writing, and I don't remember my thought I had, but I tried, and so I might get off the subject just a little bit, but Matthew 8, 23 through 27. Let me read that to you. And it says, now when he, and this is talking about Jesus, now when he got into a boat, his disciples followed him, and suddenly a great tempest arose on the sea, so that the boat was covered with waves. But he was asleep, which is talking about Jesus. Then his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we are perishing. And we'll read that other verse in a little while. But there was I don't think I saw this, but I might have. But I'll just take credit for seeing it. A message on a t-shirt worn by a senior citizen. And I'm one of them senior citizens. That said, Jesus took naps. You ever think about that? That Jesus took naps? It's so simple and it's so true. Jesus was 100% God, but he was also 100% man. And
Man like me, he's taking naps all the time.
hey, I'm telling you, I'm a nap person. I'm going to explain that to you more in a little bit. But read on down to go to 26. It said, but he said, of course, they came to him and they woke him up out of his nap and told him, said, Lord, save us. We're perishing. In 26 it says, but he said to them, why are you fearful, O you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. So the men marveled, saying, who can this be, that even the winds and the sea obey him? Now this is where I sort of got lost in my notes. I don't really know what sort of point I was trying to make on this, but the fact is that, a lot of times we say, I want to get back to the nap thing, but first I want to say this. A lot of times we say, we just pray about the big things. You ever heard that? Probably nobody in here is guilty of that. But that's sort of we were sort of taught that when we came up, that you only pray about the big things, don't bother God with the little things.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble then.
And but the deal is, as a God that can calm the winds and still the sea, what would be considered big things? I don't think anything would be considered big. So if nothing is considered big, nothing is considered small. So I think, and I do it all the time now. Not worse, just better at it. That I pray about everything, but I'm careful to give Him thanks. And I prayed and prayed and prayed on that blood test with Sarah. I'm just going to tell you, I didn't want to have to go through that. I didn't want her to have to go through it. I didn't want to go to New Orleans. I didn't want to do none of that, you know. And it's been 12 years since her transplant, and you know, transplants usually don't last forever. So that's always on your mind. And but I have not forgot to thank Him. And I've been for days or weeks thanking in my prayers. You know, I thank Him and thank Him and thank Him. Now God, Jesus, as a man, He as God, nothing is too big for Jesus. But as a man, He went through the stress and the strain that humans do. And you know, for a long time in my life, I never realized, you know, that God, I just thought God, Jesus, you know, they didn't have the problems that we have. But as a man, He went through all the strains and stresses that we do. And as a man, He got tired and He got worn down and He got empty, just like we do. We get that. We get tired and we get worn down. And like I said, I was just tired and worn down. You know, I got enough stress and problems in my own little world over here. In my own little world that starts right down there in Hopewell and just stretches out about 5 miles, and that's about it. Than having to worry about this whole country's and the world's problems. I'm taking a break and letting somebody else worry about it. It's not that I'm not concerned about my country. I love my country. You know, but just gonna let somebody else handle it for a while. As a man, he got tired, he got worn down, and he got empty. And you know, everybody is different in the way they handle things. In the way they handle things. I handle my problems in one way, and you handle yours in another way. I handle my problems in the fact you probably don't know what problems I have. But some people handle their problems, and they let the whole world know what their problem is. And you know, whatever works for them, it works. You know, this virus going around, everybody's got a different opinion. And I thought so much about this virus and different opinions, but I respect everybody's opinion. And I hope that you do. Everybody has a different opinion, and they have a different set of problems. We don't know their problems. I don't know y'all's problems, and y'all don't know my problems. And I'm not going to tell you my problems. Okay? Now, while Justin was working for me, Justin Kraft, everybody remembers him. He worked for me a while. He was a good employee. We had a good time. We had an excellent time, and we'd go around, we'd do things. And we would see some young person sitting on a porch in the middle of the day, and our joke was, oh, they must have a night job. You know, but we know when they ain't got no job. You know? We say they must have a night job. Okay, and it was just a joke. We didn't mean no harm by it. We were just joking. One day we come down the road and we saw him out in the yard, and it was probably about 2 o'clock. He had on pajamas. And so we laughed, and we said, oh, he must have a night job. Within 2 weeks, we made a call on that man with the fire department who died of cancer. See, I didn't know that man's problem. I didn't have any, I wasn't trying to be harsh with him, but we were just made, but you don't know anybody's problem. You don't know the other people's problems. So you better be careful, and I think think everybody knows that because, a lot people are under stress. I think about this fact. The mamas works now. Most mamas work now. Of course, most all of us is retired now. Anybody in here got a job that y'all W-2 on or 1040 or whatever that thing?
What's that?
That's when you pay, the government takes part of it. I did not realize that the government taxes you on Social Security.
Yeah.
If you still work, like I do, then they tax you on Social Security. I had to pay that government. Yeah, and that's my money.
No, no.
Mama works all day and she comes home to the house and children a lot of times. And a lot of times Daddy will leave his first job and he'll go to his second job. It's stressful. And then you got somebody that's a 24-hour a day caregiver. We're going to talk a little more about that. You've probably been in that situation. And, but everybody, people sometimes just need it now. Jesus took him there. And sometimes people. It had been a busy day for Jesus. He had cleansed the leper. I'm not saying it's all the same day. Just going by what the Bible said. Jesus healed a centurion servant. Peter's mother-in-law was healed. And many were healed after the Sabbath sunset. He had been busy. It had been a good day. I pray this prayer a lot of times. I try to. And I say, Lord, thank you. I had a good day today. It was, things went wrong, Lord, but we accomplished things. And I thank you. We had a good day. It can be a real busy day. And he had been busy, but he found a place to rest and be ready to go. Because you got to have some rest. Monday was a hard day for me. Now everybody says, well, them boys do all the work. Well, I got to be there watching them. I ain't sitting go well, but we got it done. We had. I think we worked on 3 jobs that day. That I have a crew come and do my repairs. They work for a company. They don't work for me. But when they come, I bring them in. We do jobs. We had 2 jobs that didn't go well, but we got them done. I got good help. But and then we went to another job, and it went good. So we finished on out. Probably got through about 3 o'clock. It's sort of late for a waterman to work, I'm gonna tell you. But you know what? Had a hard day, a good day, and then I come home and took a nap. I'm just not gonna hardly miss that nap. If I have to get it at 7, 8 o'clock at night, I'm just about gonna get it. But they woke him up to deal with the problem out of his nap. And just when you think you got all your ducks in a row, you know how what happened. And you can take a nap. You got your ducks in a row, and you can take a nap. Somebody comes along and wakes you up. You know what the problem is a lot of times? And I've said this a lot of times. If you only have 2 ducks, they're not hard to keep in a row. And when you get that 3rd duck, he's always out of line with the other ducks. You ever seen? You know where that saying comes from? You ever seen them ducks that come from one pond, they go across, and they'll all be behind? You don't notice them so much except if one of them's out of line, and that don't happen. But it's good to get all your ducks in a row. Sometimes we just got too many ducks. We got too many things going on. Now let me tell you what happened this morning. Somewhere around midnight, Bob called me. He said, man, my knee is killing me. And I know. And he said, I need to take me to the hospital, to the emergency room. All right. Well, I done been asleep about 4 hours when it comes to midnight. So, I get up and I go get him. That knee is swollen up. I get up there and he's sitting on the front porch smoking a cigarette. I said, Bob, you better finish that cigarette. You know you can't smoke in the car. And he said, I know, and they ain't gonna let me smoke up there either, so it's gonna be a long time. So you know what? I went up there and just dropped him off, and went in, you know, got him situated in the waiting room there. They got my information, they got my phone number, and then about just a little bit after 12 noon, I was eating my dinner. I got home a little bit late. Normally 11:30 is my time. Got home a little late. The phone rang. It says, ready.
Come home.
Come get Bob. They done me the same way it went over to the family reunion. You remember? I didn't get to eat. Okay, but you know what I told him? I said, I'll be up there, but it might be a couple of hours. And so I finished my dinner. I set my clock for 20 minutes. I took me a nap.
Good for you.
Listen, I deserve it.
Right.
I deserve a nap. He was just gonna be sitting in the chair. What's the deal? Is he coming home? He's sitting in the chair. But you need to take a nap. We get physically tired, and we need a good night's rest to get recharged. And you know, the older you get, the more. When I was young, I could work all day and lay out all night. But them days is over. I can't study my Bible at night anymore. And I want to know, let me tell you this. We decided last week it was going to have a Bible study in the afternoons, and I'm ashamed to say, after laying off the church for 4 or 5 months and having all that time to study my Bible, did you know I had to look for my Bible? I had to look it up. I'm ashamed of that. All that time that I wasn't in church, I could have been studying my Bible. But when I got ready to look for it, I had to find it. I knew it was in that house, and I did find it. But I can't stay up at night anymore. Mornings are better. I can study better in the mornings. And I start early in the morning, you know, but I can study better. I can help Sarah with a little housework early in the morning. But at night, when I get home after a long day, I usually get home about 7 o'clock. I stay out doing something. It's not with the water, but I do other things. And you come in, you got to take a bath and eat, and if your bedtime's 8:30, that don't give you a lot of time. And you know, it's terrible when you go to bed and look out and it's still daylight outside. It's all right now. But, sometimes we just need that rest. And after that rest, we're going to feel better. Sometimes we get emotionally and mentally and spiritually tired. We have problems with health, money, and as we get older, it's more health. It seems like we have a little more money when we get older, but we well, I'm still working. What I don't give the government, we got a little more money, we just don't feel like going over and spending it.
We don't need it.
So we get some help from the government. And we have help with, you know, we have problems with help. You know. Sometimes it's our family. And sometimes it's friends that we worry about. And our country. We worry about country. And, you know, I'm not telling you to go through life and dragging around and doing nothing. When I say take a nap and rest, you know, that don't mean that, and I don't think life ought to be all about you, you know. I remember one time when Jared was a little bitty young, he was down in church, I think, worried his mama pulling over, she was there, and she turned to him and said, Jared, it ain't all about you. He thought a minute, he said, well, what is it about? You know, you should help others. And, you know, tithing is more than money. And I feel strong that tithing is more than money. If you just so busy you don't have time to help somebody else that needs some help, you know, you just too busy. My daddy used to, you know, say that, you know, if you get, you know, he was in the parsonage all the years, and of course people a lot of times in the they come in and they in line, they're waiting, and he, you know, his theory was, I don't think he told anybody this, because he was met the public very well. But, you know, if you're in that big a hurry, you should have left the house early. And so, you can't, but you can't be part of the solution to things. And I think you should help and do. If you're wore out, and you will become part of the problem. And you need to get some rest, get some sleep. Be busy, but take time to rest. Some people stay up late at night, and I probably was one of them at one time. I never was late much to go get to work. But a lot of people just stay up late at night so they can just get up just in time to be like 10 minutes late to work. You ever know people that's always late? It don't matter if they're coming to church or coming somewhere else. They're going to be late. And you need to, you just need to work on that, being on time, being prompt. And you need to spend some time alone. You can't, and that's where I fell down through this. I've done a lot of praying because I got some situations going on in my life, and that I have been doing a lot of praying. I have been serious, so I have spent time with God in prayer. But you need to spend. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't spent enough. I haven't studied. And that's for a fact. Early in the morning, I get up early, and before Saturday night, I can go in that living room. And we got a clock. And I guess that clock's got a battery in it, of course. We just don't have no wire. So, but it ticks. It makes that little ticking ring. You can't hear that ticking during the day. But if you're in there by yourself at 5:30 in the morning, looking at your Bible, you can hear that thing tick. You go in the other room, lay down, and go to sleep, and you don't ever bother. But it's just like that. What we like to talk about as Baptists, about that small, still voice from God. You can't hear that clock unless you're there and you're quiet. So there's some times that we need to just be real quiet with God. Sometimes you hear somebody say something. Sometimes you hear a song on the radio that has a message for you. But a lot of times that message comes when you're just being real quiet. I might talk to a friend, and I got wrote down here Brother Pat in the dollar store. So I remember talking to Brother Pat one time in the dollar store. It's been a few years ago, so it must have been then. And I remember talking to him, and we just having such a good time. He's such a good man, and he's got a lot of knowledge, and I'm afraid a lot of it's trapped now, but he's got a lot of knowledge. But sometimes you can talk to a friend, and he'll help you along. But you know what? Sometimes you just need to be real quiet and talk to God. And you can't be quiet listening to the TV, and actually you can't be quiet if anybody else is hardly awake in the house. You got to be still. And you got to, like you used to tell the young ones, put that squirming and be still. Sometimes you need to be real still with God. And then you can listen to Him, and you can unload all those worries that you got with Him. Listen to what He's got to say. He'll speak to you. And then unload all those worries. It's like coming home, And I don't do this a lot because Sarah's, she's very easy to get along with. But sometimes if my boot's real muddy, I will, I won't track mud in and out. But, you know, but I don't pull my boots off every day. But I just think about the fact you go there with them muddy boots and you pull them off and go in and leave those muddy boots and those problems of the day out there. You know, I never was one of all the faults I had. I've told Sailor, this will make her mad. I said, I'm trying to be a better husband now, Sailor, than I used to be. You know, it'll irritate me. But I've never been one to bring problems home from work. But a lot of people do. And but you just leave all those problems outside the door and go in that house and have some restful, peaceful time. Sometimes I have to tell Sailor, I said, look, she'll begin to tell me this is the problem, that is the problem. I said, I don't want to hear that. I said, is there anything I can do about that problem? No. Well, then I just don't want to hear it. I just want, let's just spend some time not with problems, but just some good times. Just talking about good times. You can leave, because them boots will be there the next morning, and that mud will still be on, and you can pick them up, and you can put them on out there, and you can get on out and warm, but you need to leave your problems out. I believe you need to work hard. I don't think anybody would ever say that I didn't believe in working hard and being busy. I really believe it. And if you're able to, I think you should. And, you know, and I believe you should play hard. And I think people ought to have a good time. I enjoy seeing people have a good time and playing hard. I believe you ought to help others with their needs and their problems, but you got to know your limitations on that situation. You know, you can't take on more burdens than you can handle. Don't take on such of your neighbor's burdens that it brings you down. You help them and do work. But most of all, I believe we should take a nap every day. So that's my theory on that. I think the whole world would be better if we took a nap every day.
You know, it said that in the end days, that we will be led by one person trying to lead us away from Christ. That's the Antichrist. I don't believe there's, of course I don't know, that the Antichrist is out there right now, but it's sure setting it up.
Antichrist is alive today. And let me tell you why. The Antichrist is alive today. And this is just a tribute. The devil don't know when the end of time, when that time will come. So, and he don't create the Antichrist. That Antichrist is born and raised. So there's always got to be somebody waiting in the wings. So don't, but I'll just tell you, I know how it is and everything, but we're gonna have prayer. But let me tell you something funny that happened while I took Bible. You know, I attract a certain type of people. I don't know. I do. I can sit here and tell you stories of people that I attract, but somehow or another, I'm like a magnet to a certain type of people. When I come out of that emergency room out there, my car was Sarah's car sitting right there. And I had noticed this young woman, and you know, anybody under 50 now is young to me, but I feel she's probably in her 30s. And she was hobbling out there with just one foot up, you know, jumping on crutches. And she got right out there by my car. And I got out there, and there wasn't nobody there to get it. I said, you know, can I help you? Is somebody here to pick you up? She said, yeah, they're coming to pick me up. And I'm supposed to meet them down there by that stop sign. You pull out, and there's a stop sign right there. She said, I'm supposed to meet them there. And I said, well, let me tell you, it's probably from here to over there to the park house. And I said, let me take you down there. She said, oh, I don't know. I said, look, get right in the car. I said, you're safe with me. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I'm not going to hurt you. And so she gets in the car, she gets in there, she gets that foot in and everything. I close the door and I get in. So, you know, I'm going to make conversation with them. I say, what happened? Is your foot hurt? Oh, I got shot. You got shot. And so I'm driving on down there around. I said, well, why? Whoever was going to pick you up, why didn't they drive up in here? Oh, they're afraid the law will get them. There I'm up at midnight in my wife's car with a young woman in the car, a shooting victim, going to meet somebody that's running from the law.
Probably the one that shot her. Don't want to-
She said she was just an innocent bystander. I said, well, where do you live? She said, Waynesboro. I said, did the ambulance bring you up here? Oh, no, I live at Waynesboro, but I was up here when I got shot. So just anybody being from Waynesboro and being in Jackson in a place to get shot really probably ain't somebody who need any coffee. Let's have prayer. Bill, why don't you lead us in prayer?